it's not the narcissist's job to understand your point of view. I mean, really, what I mean is you don't hand over the responsibility to the narcissist. The thing that they don't have is a very good understanding of a lot of things, human. So if you think you're going to have a conversation regarding your human life, and quote, life is a it's not well thought of what life means, but it's the same as like alive. It's aliveness, it's the life of it. Anyway, getting back to how that's a karmic thing. If you get caught up with somebody who isn't really there, it's a trip. As I see now, I don't want to pick on men because I know that women are this way also, and I'm not free of my of course it's the masculine facade, right? Maybe, but I was born as an Aries rising. After a while it's like, don't take on just energy. So getting back to, though, that talk about energy. I talked about it in my last video, that what the narcissist has is a problem of generating their own sense of valuing something of themselves, but really it's like they hold something of a memory that is, I would just say in general, is good. But what I mean, okay, so wholesome. So let's say we learn how to learn something. It's more like just taking note that the human experience is a delicacy. It's not about the obvious. Pretty soon you start realizing how to set your mind aside to keep learning what's really going on there. I mean, it's not about using your mind to block out a connection or even an emotion. We all know that that's a delicacy too. There's a way to use these things, but really, I just think that there's a way to be properly programmed to where you're not so in need of control. That's the one problem too. Narcissists, they go for control because they are so feeling undermined about the connections that they are making, right? Inherently, we know that they know deep down that they fall short. And point of this fucking video, it's sad. It's sad, and the thing is, it's like, okay, so but you don't get involved with these people intimately. Why? Because they're not capable. It's sad they can't see where they would really it would really stick out is, to me it sticks out, is sex. They are now, this is where, I mean, I could be onto something. I keep fucking saying this. I'm not saying this because I have a problem. It's like, no, I'm making sure I don't have a problem. What I'm seeing is that there is a lot of sexual suppression, repression. Women that I have, okay, I'm 50 and I'm going to tell you now, they seem to be vague on the subject matter of their own body, okay? I didn't go straight to the orgasm. But it's like they're like, I think I do, and then some of them are they are interesting. That's all I have to say. Um, Gosh, so what my experience is just like you have to bring men up. It's awkward at first, and but then you're like, okay, so by the way, it could be. I mean, you're friends after, and then after a while, you go there because there is a chemistry. If there is, you can talk about it after a while. You're gonna say, by the way, did you notice I am here? I'm a completely different sex, and here's what I am interested in. I know that you're interested in a certain thing about me, but did you know that I'm interested in a certain thing about me too? In case you were interested. That's kind of funny because that's not narcissistic, man. That's just, the way we're built. I mean, gosh, I just want to step back and like, okay, can we look at just the science? I mean, the way it's looking. I'm not making this stuff up where it's just like they're two totally different and they're opposite sex, right? As we talk about it. What does that mean? Well, it means that maybe one um, is cold and the other one is hot. Maybe one takes less time to get hot and cold or whatever, and the other one doesn't. Maybe, yeah, like stuff like that. Just opposites. It's like, okay, so but when does when can one be involved in the other? What I mean is, when can they be interested genuinely so that they actually get involved with each other? You know what I mean? As far as like, now, where are the sex education books again? Like, what does sex education mean? Do we really have to learn how a sperm goes towards the egg and then creates life? No, 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 no. That is on its own. Biological intelligence has its own accomplishments. Believe it or not, you fucking idiots are going to have to find your own, and believe it or not, making love it might be one of them, along with playing the clarinet and making a decent bowl of meatballs if you like meatballs. Really, making a decent bowl of meatballs. I mean, God, what are you eating there? Really? I mean, did you see where that came from? Anyway, I know I'm onto something, man. How can we fucking walk through life blindly? You know what I mean? Here I am in Aries. Let me see if the lighting changes. It's great. It looks like I'm getting um, whitewashed with the lighting and everything, and also, I'm kind of burnt. Mars is doing a thing with me, and yeah, it's time to talk about sex again. It's like, not that I have a problem with it. No, I'm seeing. I'm seeing how it's really an edgy subject matter, right? And so my experience, God, this is nobody's business at all. But is that you bring a man up, he's either interested or you get the fuck away from him. He's genuinely gay. I don't know, but you have to bring them up. You have to say, excuse me, okay, cool and everything, cool. You got an idea, you're fantasizing, but do you care about the real thing? Shite. It's not everybody's cup of tea, really. I mean, getting all mushy and whatever goes on, you know what I mean? And then, let alone what the woman has to deal with is when she has birth, gives birth, and then what? There's a lot of drooling and a lot of excretion and smells and all this stuff. Where does the man go? Where'd you go? Where the fuck did that guy go? I'm just kidding. I'm not all of them are like that, but um, like what? Well, like what they're saying that 80% is going on. I mean, it's not worth it, man. Self-control is huge, and I have a lot of Libra. The secret behind Libra is that they are Saturn is exalted there, I think, or something like this. It's Saturnian. It really is. It has a Saturnian tinge, besides for Venus. It's interesting. It's really interesting. So there's a like self-control. There's control when it comes to the pleasure thing. I mean, this is how a Libra. There's a lot of Libra, and they were exposed to the things that they should be exposed to, which is like a musical instruments. Become musical. Become mathematic, which is that's what music is. Become oriented to the self-organizing systems, which is endless amount of things. Once you learn music, that you have now learned something that will enable you to you now know what you need to know in order to learn all other things correctly. Like make that elevator go all the way to the top, and that includes thinking like a lawyer, like connected to reality and the truth, and just a machine weighing things out. Like, well, if that was me and my elevator went to the top, it's like, well, then they would be able to question, well, why didn't you just call her at that time when you did, huh? And you know what I'm saying? And it's really I was going to say mindless. It's just a machine. Though AI comes to mind. I know that nobody is even knows astrology or even how to talk about it, but there's not a coincidence that AI is raising up with the Aquarius age. Why? Because Libra is going to rise up. But AI is a synthesized version of what the self-organizing systems can do, which music is very much a sign of one of them. It's easy to understand it if you know math. You know math, but there's much more of this. It's not numbers, particles. Okay, there's wave math too. There's all kinds of different maths and way to hear, right? Way to ear. Music, I would say, suggest to learn the fundamentals of that. Just expose yourself to it. There are instruments that will let you hear what your innards are now putting out. Did I talk about anything about talk about the narcissists who don't connect to these things correctly? So they don't get like a self-gratification and an understanding like, well, how did I learn that? How did I learn to learn? And how it's possible within everybody else. And so now they can come from the inside out, like letting them know, well, this is the way I learned to learn, and this is the way we got good at it. There's really a that's a delicacy. To think about if there was something to govern us, if it was an education system, but now it's like AI or something that's just going to force who knows what upon us about like what is going to govern. AI is dangerous because it's a synthetic form. It's man-made, so what they can do is just tweak it off a little bit, right? Make it cater to something else, which most people would be like, yeah, no, we would love it to be just useless, because the truth is, babes, if you wanted to know what it took to make music out of a noise, instead of being a noise, you became something that could harmonize and listen. And then, harmonize is a big one. Being on time. See, these things, we can find our narcissists are kind of allergic to it. They have been trained, abused, something led them away from it. In fact, probably slapped them every time they were going into a place of, boy, I feel like all of a sudden, because the truth sets you free. See, the truth sets you free. I relate that with saying, the more that you play music and get into this circle, it just takes you. You're on a wheel now. those drummers, the batucada drummers, if you just knew what I was talking about, it gives you energy. And if you were, anybody knows, when you're working with music on, you do everything much more faster. It's harmonious. You're like on time. If you really knew, everything is musical. So it goes to show that. I mean, gosh, you can't say enough about it. I'm just talking here alone into the wild blue. My situation is, well, God has me, and I know that I see I'm remaining open. I am, as an Aries rising, it's spring, that's my time, that's my energy, and I just want to move, and I think that I'm way behind, but it's like, no, let God, I am being impatient with God Himself, and He's laughing at me. And it's not the narcissists, believe me. Those fucking narcissists talk about not divine timing. No, they're 2 fucking years behind. So I have to do everything myself, but they're not going to get it. Some of them don't get it ever. Ever, not in this lifetime. They are called malignant cases. And they are, I didn't want to say dancing to the beat of a different drum. I mean, that's okay because you have your own life. But no, these people are locked in. I would say, okay, I just got the vision of, what is 80% doing? They're listening to the news right now. Channel 4, BBC, fucking global thing. What is happening with Trump and all this shit? It's like, God, none of your business. And if it was, you wouldn't know how to figure it out. Like, how do you relate with it? Did they just listen to it? Did they just thumb down sex again? And women or something like that? God.